am Alfred Bundy. We're here at a very special edition of Meet the Leaders in Atlantic City, New Jersey at the 103rd League of Municipality Convention. My special guest here is Edward, better known as, how you go, Ned?
Yep.
Thomson, Assemblyman. Tell us a little bit about your district.
Our district is pretty much the southern Monmouth Beach, as far as Bradley Beach all the way down to Brielle, west to Point Borough, Lakewood, Howell, and Wall Township, and Farmingdale. 14 towns, 2 towns in Ocean County, and 12 up in Monmouth.
You got a lot of the New Jersey shore in your district.
Yes, we do.
There's been some concern for some time now about Sandy recovery. How are things progressing there?
Well, I think for the most part, our district has recovered quite well. There's still some sections of the lower section of our district that needs some help. I believe the biggest concern was the contractor fraud that was going on, and that there were some contractors that were fly-by-night, were taking money and leaving folks with no work being done, clearly, and that just is intolerable. Most of our contractors are licensed with the state and should be able to carry out those responsibilities.
And certainly it has been a long road for some of those folk, okay? There's also a concern that some of them put in some false applications.
Yes, sir. There's been some fraud on both sides, I'd say, and quite honestly, that's been remedied quite significantly in the most recent actions that have been taken by the state police and also the other investigations that went on. It's interesting that after 2001, the Patriot Act came in. It's a little difficult to pull the wool over people's eyes for any real great amount of time. They'll find you eventually.
Now, you're new to the state legislature in some ways, even though you're a former mayor out of Wall Township. But tell us, what's been your biggest challenge as a state legislator?
Well, I serve on the Budget Committee, and that is a very large challenge. I'm also an enrolled actuary, pension actuary. I run pension plans for companies. And sitting on the pension board for the Board of Trustees for Public Employees Retirement System for 23 years. So I'm very familiar with the state and the pension itself. My biggest concern is obviously the unfunded liability of the pension system. And that's what we're working on very diligently. I'm working with the Majority Leader, Lou Greenwald, and Senate President Steve Sweeney on some remedies for that.
Now, we've seen where almost 50% of those who work in small business, private sector jobs, don't have any type of coverage or insurance at all. I mean, what's your plans, what's your thoughts about that?
Well, I think you have a couple of issues that basically in your question is first, as far as the insurance and unable to get the insurance after Sandy, that is a challenge. They were supposed to actually comply with the new regulations that are CAFA regulations as well as regulations that are required by the insurance companies to be insured. Most of them are attempting to do so, and we're trying to get some. I
think a lot of what these small companies are doing, though, they're not hiring people full time. So
that's true.
That's really.
That's true. And at this particular point, the health insurance is an issue, and how it's paid for. And most of the companies that are now being required to carry the health insurance are not hiring people, or putting them under the limitations of the number of hours required to be covered by that insurance.
Some quick answers here. We don't have a lot of time. Opioid crisis, big problem. What more can we do to help?
Well, I think it's all about funding and education. Education is the most important thing about what the dangers are of the opioids and where you start. Primarily, you get it from injuries from athletes. You never expect the people to be on heroin. I lost my godson to it. He was in the Navy. He had been injured, came back, the doctor prescribed a number of things, and unfortunately we lost him 3 Thanksgivings ago. And that's one thing that we have to be, it's education. And to the doctors as well as the individuals.
So sorry to hear that. Another quick answer, for or against legalizing marijuana. I don't want to just say recreational, but legalizing marijuana in this state.
I don't think it's the panacea that they think it is. Primarily, my son is training for the Olympics out in Colorado Springs, and Colorado is one of the states that has legalized. Yes, it is. Colorado Springs does not. It's kind of the island in the middle of the state. But after talking to people out in Colorado, the revenue was not worth the cost of the services that are needed to be provided when you have recreational. The medical marijuana I understand entirely and support, but the jury is still out as to whether what we expect to get from recreational marijuana is worth the cost.
Listen, we are out of time. But I'm so glad that you stopped by to see us. We're here at the New Jersey League of Municipality Convention in Atlantic City. My special guest has been Assemblyman Ned Thomson.